All right, so welcome back to the Out of Chaos podcast. With me today, the thought provoking and previous guest, J Rod. Joel,
Let's
welcome
go.
back.
Let's go.
Thank you for joining me again. You joined me back a couple episodes ago, episode 5, right?
Yeah, I was around episode
Um,
5, 2 episodes ago.
yeah, we discussed the friendship type of love, and we got pretty deep. But today, we have an interesting topic, a topic that me and you have talked about extensively, and it's about cancel culture. I don't
Mm.
want us to pull any punches. I want you to say what you want, and I want us to talk about meaningful topics, right, without holding back. I mean, that is the irony of talking about this, speaking on this topic, right? So, first, I want to kind of dive into the importance of why we chose this topic. So, me and you have talked so much about this, and it's so like interesting to me because it's something that's plaguing our society today, right? This
Right.
podcast is about shining light on the chaos in order to kind of transcend it, right? So on this topic, we're shining light on the cancel culture that exists today, right? So what are your thoughts so
You
far?
know,
Like
we hear it
what's
on the
going on?
news all the time, and I always, send you a DM or a message on Facebook or something when I hear something crazy on the news. When a celebrity gets canceled or an athlete, or you hear something, and then it blows my mind. And I think cancel culture puts a lot of fear in people because they self censor themselves and they're scared to really express how they feel. I was telling you earlier before how Facebook will remind me, they will remind me on what I post 5 years ago, 3 years ago, or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But I always see something really outrageous and I will delete it because I am not comfortable with having that.
Yeah.
I always think about the future, right? I always think about, okay, what would happen if I become really big one day? I'm not trying to help hype myself up or anything, but you never know, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, what if somebody digs into my tweets from 2010 and they see something that could make me canceled? Like, I don't know what. And it's something so hard to predict because I said to you before, we should make a disclaimer in this podcast and say, hey, at the time of filming this episode, if anybody's offended, in 2023, watching this episode, please, do not try to cancel us. We are, I think it's about intent, right? We're not
Yeah.
trying to hurt anybody or we're not trying to harm anyone. We're just being thoughtful and expressing our opinions.
100%. I wanted to ask you. I mean, first of all, the reason why I have you in here for this episode is not just because, like, come back for an episode. It's something that I think we're all noticing, but not many of us are doing something about it. It's almost like we complain about it, but we're not actively trying to stop it or to call it out. And that's something I really find valuable. Which is why I chose you, right? Which is why you're here, because it's something that I feel like me and you are looking at, and we're seeing the potential danger. Because personally, me, the reason why I want to talk about this topic is because of the danger it represents. It's a slippery slope, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we're living in what 2021, April 1st, right? I'm looking at how it's going to be 2022, April 1st, right? Because from my experience, things that are chaotic only get worse. They never stay the same, and they don't get better by itself, right? So that's why it's important. So I want to ask you, like, what's one cancel canceled person or situation that you kind of impacted you recently, or whenever
Mm-hmm.
actually?
So, what happened in the news recently, if anybody's has paid attention. So I followed basketball a lot. I'm a huge sports fan. There was this person called Myers Leonard. I believe that's how you say it. He used to play for the Miami Heat.
Okay.
He got traded to Oklahoma, and he was playing Call of Duty. He was on Twitch. He was live streaming, and he said something. I'm not sure if it was homophobic or racist, but he was playing Call of Duty
Yeah.
on a live stream, right? Now, when you play Call of Duty, you already know that culture. When you're playing, you say things that you don't mean.
Yeah.
It's just the culture of the game. and the community. Everybody trash talks. It's okay.
Yeah,
You
everybody
know,
talks
I
about each other's mamas.
every single night I play Call of Duty and I kill someone in the game. Somebody says something about my mom, but
Always.
I'm not gonna like take that to heart. You know, I know it's part of the game. He doesn't really mean that. You know,
Yeah.
he doesn't. I don't know him, right? Because when you're playing behind a screen, all you see, you don't know what they look like.
Yeah.
You just see the skin they're playing as, the character or avatar or whatever you want to call it. So basically, going back to Myers Leonard, he said something. I don't know if it was homophobic or racist, but the team let him go because what he said was inappropriate.
Okay.
Now, do you think that was right?
But
You know the culture of the
so
game.
the reason why they let him go was because of Call of Duty.
He said
For
something.
sure.
He said something on Call of Duty, and it was a live stream.
Yeah. And how
So
long ago did he say it? Not that it matters to me, but
less
for
than
that.
a week ago or something like that.
No, like when did he say what he said on Call of Duty versus the time he got fired? Like how much space was there in between?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna guess less than a few days.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So someone got offended, and then it's a corporate thing too. You know, companies don't want to look bad. The NBA doesn't want to look bad. The team doesn't want to look bad for keeping a player for things they say.
Yeah. Okay, so like I completely understand what you're saying, right? Especially like playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Like I'm someone that like I would never even in like an argument in the street, I don't like insult people's mothers or anything, right? But for some reason in Call of Duty, like
Yeah.
you're literally like, yo mama, for no reason. I don't know. It's
Exactly.
just so funny, right? It's funny because like the last time I played, like the guy's like, your mom this. I'm like, come on, dude. Why you gotta talk about my mama like that, right?
Exactly.
But like it's funny because when they say it to me, I'm like, what? Your mama this, right? And it's something that like first of all, like I don't even know the guy's mom. I'm joking. Like I know how I am. I'm very respectful, but just in
Mhm.
it's just for fun, right? But the thing is, I guess the question is, what's the balance, right? Are you allowed to say something risky anymore? Like you're trying to cancel risk, right? There's a fine line, right, between
Mhm.
saying like yeah your mom this and then saying like being very specific. I think that's where the line is drawn, right? When you're very specific and personal versus kind of like a generalization. Be like, are you Mexican? Just because I said something in Spanish,
Mhm.
I wouldn't. I've been called a Mexican so many times. Why would I get offended? I mean, I understand the misconception because I speak Spanish. But if it
Mhm.
was like if they knew me or they insulted like the way I speak in Spanish, like the dialect, then that's a little bit more specific. And
Mhm.
yes, I would feel insulted, but even then I wouldn't like go out to cancel someone. Do you get what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
let alone like just saying like, oh, this or that or your mom or or like Mexicans or Salvadorians, pupusas, like,
Mhm.
that's not insulting to me. So the reason why we're trying to bring awareness to this is because what's the balance, right? Things only get worse. And I know you guys probably see it now, but to those of you who haven't heard about this topic or who are just listening to it, I'm like adverting you guys or telling you guys to be careful, right? Not as in be careful of not getting canceled, be careful of what's to come. Hold your ground. You know what I'm saying? And we'll dive a little bit more into that, but
It's something so hard to predict though because we you've done a few episodes so far on the podcast, and how do you know what you say today is going to offend somebody in the future? You can't predict that,
you know how I
right?
know? You know how I know? Because it's the one thing that cancel culture and people who do the canceling don't understand, and it's intent. It's what you kind of said it right at the beginning, right? Intent matters, man. Like intent is everything, right? Obviously if I like that passive aggressiveness that people have, that's
Mhm.
fake intent, right? Like they sound like they're sweet or they're nice but they really mean ill. That's not real intent. I'm talking about like what I'm saying here, bro. Like even in previous episodes, I don't mean to bash. Like we've talked about our parents, we talked about exes, other people. I don't mean to bash any of those people. Like my
Mhm.
intention is literally to not live a life where we're scared, and to not just because let's say I'm called I've been called this before, like a dark Mexican. I've been called this before, even though I'm not
How do
Mexican.
you react to
It,
that?
but it's the thing, like if a stranger calls me that, if that affects me, I'm a weak person. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I went to like an all white school, and they were racist towards me, but I still got into university. I graduated. I still helped my parents out. I still developed. I like to think properly.
Hmm.
So the only time it would hurt me if it comes from people I love, and even then, I wouldn't let it affect me. My parents have said hurtful things to me. I'm pretty sure I've said hurtful things to them, and that never stopped me from trying to be a good son or trying to be a better person. So that's what I'm saying. Intent. That's what I was trying to get to. Like, intent matters, and everything I've said from episode 1 to now and in the future, I'm never gonna say it to hurt anybody, and I mean
Right.
it. Like, because I'm not here to dictate how you speak, and if you want to be rude to me, like, I'm just not gonna keep you in my life. It's that simple. I'm not gonna change who you are. I can't change the world. Like I'm not like some celestial being that can change everybody, right? So I had to make do with what I have,
Do
right?
you ever get worried about ever getting canceled, whether it's something you post on the podcast or something you said in an episode, or maybe on Instagram you post something on your story? Do you ever think about like what could happen in the future? Because basically anything you post on the internet, it's there for life.
Yeah.
Even if you delete it.
The thing is, it's kind of go back. It goes back to the intent. If I get canceled or called out on something that they misinterpreted, I live by this rule. Like, if you get offended and I know I didn't mean to offend you, like, I know how I am. I'm not trying to boost myself. I don't go out to like fight people or put them down. I genuinely want to help people, right? So if I'm trying to help people and they find something and they cancel me for that or they
Hmm.
silence me for that, it's not my problem. Like, I may lose my job and it's gonna sound very audacious, but I'm okay. Even if I have to go to jail, I'll go to jail. But nothing will ever stop me from being the person that I am. And I'm caring about people, right? So it's your job to not think ill will of me. Like, I'm not trying to hurt anybody, right? So if they think wrong of me, it's their responsibility to like fix that. It's not my responsibility to make it up to them, right? I didn't say anything bad. Now, if I said something wrong, something ethically wrong, or morally wrong, I would be the first one, to
Hmm.
apologize. Like, even the stuff I've said about like my upbringing in the past episodes, I'm pretty sure that can come back to haunt me. But I would be the first one to be like, I said this because I meant it, but I'm sorry if that offended you, right? But to be canceled or silenced, I don't think anybody should have the power for that. This is not a communist country,
Exactly.
So the thing, free speech was never that free, but we are free, like human beings with free will, and we have to exercise that, right?
One thing I respect about you is sometimes you'll post things on your story and you're not afraid to go against the grain.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure you're not having second thoughts of like, oh, what if somebody thinks this of me, or, should I post this? Is it safe? You're not afraid. So I respect that, and I send you some of these DMs and stuff. Even for me, I'm very hesitant, to be honest, to post certain things
yeah,
because I might have somebody in my friend list. They might DM me saying, hey, are you okay? It's just that if you're not on one side with the majority and you go against that, then you're seen as the bad guy.
yeah. And the thing is, the reason why is because I go for justice. I don't go not social justice. I go for just like, you don't need to add any extra word to justice. Justice is justice, right? Now, if you want to be unjust, that's your problem, because justice will always be fair, right? So the thing is, I'll give you the solution, okay? And to all those listening, the best way to make sure that you're not canceled, or even if you are, to live a peaceful life, even if you do get canceled, because life is unfair, is to literally not have biases as much as you can. We're human beings, right? And we're always gonna have some kind of bias. But bro, like, ever since I was a kid, I would call out people even close to me. Like, if my mom was doing something wrong, and even she
Hmm.
commends me for this till this day. Like, if she was fighting with my aunt, my cousins would always side with their moms.
Wow.
But there were times that, like, my mom, like, she would be a little too aggressive, bro. And I remember I was literally like 8, and I was like, Mom. She's like, yeah, your aunt this, your aunt that. I'm like, Mom, like, but you did wrong too. And she yelled at me, right? But now that
Hmm.
we're older, she goes
Hmm.
like, thank you for that. Like, because that's what I'm saying. If you're biased, you're always going to be on the wrong side of history, always.
Yeah.
You know, because media tells you who to hate because your friends all follow this person. But once you put everything in perspective and you clean yourself of any bias, you'll
Hmm.
see the clear picture.
This is why I stay away from politics because I lack knowledge in this area, and it's such a very touchy subject because if I ask for advice regarding somebody, about politics, I get into the idea of like, what if they try to persuade me,
Yeah.
to one side? Why can't you just give me, both sides? That's why I have friends and family, who support different sides, and that's good. I support everyone. I
Yeah.
don't really care about your political beliefs, but for some people, it's their identity.
But it kind of goes. It's crazy because it kind of goes back to our previous topic, which we were you were on with on episode 5, right? Where we talked about friends. You know who your real friends are when they get rid of all those biases. We talked about this. Let's say you wanted a promotion and then your friend got it instead of you.
Mhm.
Obviously, I'm not saying like you're still human. You can still feel sad, but to be like, even though I wanted this, I'm so happy for my friend. That's a good friend, right? So same
Mhm.
thing. Like if you have a political belief that maybe I don't agree on, but you can separate that from your life or from your friendship. That's someone that's worth being friends with, you know. And I try to be that. I'm respectful, you know. As I always mention, I'm Christian, but that doesn't stop me from talking to people who are from different religions. Or I'm not like that, right? Even though I know other Christians that have done that, they don't associate with anybody that's not from their religion, right?
Mhm.
And I don't believe in that because that's not fair, right? So that's how I live my life. Usually try to be just, but it's hard. I'm not gonna like paint a pretty picture, right? I want to ask you, like, we're living in a world where it's like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Because if you're about to get canceled, you want to save your job, you want to save whatever it is, your platform. So you're forced to apologize, right? And if you apologize, you weaken your character, you weaken your value, who you are, and they still won't forgive you. And if you don't apologize, then you get canceled. So what would you do? Like what's the better
Yeah.
alternative?
So, like, going back to what I was telling you before, I've told you the story how Facebook will send me a reminder of something I posted 3 or 4 years ago, and I remember even in grade 9, like you're not even fully developed. You're like 14 years old, 15 years old. Like the stuff you post is just it's gonna be really dumb, really
Yeah.
stupid. So one example would be I wrote on my Facebook post like, "Hey guys, I'm taking steroids. I'm gonna get juiced up. I'm gonna get jacked." And then people in the comments were like, "Are you okay? Call me right now. This and that." It was April 1st, by the way. And then I told everybody, "Oh, this is an April Fool's joke. I'm not actually taking it."
Yeah.
So when I got that reminder from Facebook, I deleted it. Because I wanted to play it safe. I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that nobody, digs deep into my social media and tries to find it. Because what if somebody says to me, "Oh, look at this person. He's trying to promote drugs.
Yeah.
Is this the person you want as your boss, your CEO, or like, maybe if I become famous one day, that will stop me from becoming the host of the Oscars,
Exactly.
just imagine, right?
Exactly. No, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like that kind of brings me to the second topic that I want, not topic, but like point that I wanted to make is that there's no chance for redemption. Like you could potentially say something very dumb, you know. I remember I know so many, like, I'm not trying to call out girls specifically, but usually girls back when we were in high school, like when they would get their heart broken or something, they would always post
Hmm.
like songs or like, you know what, I don't need you, you know.
Or like a motivational quote,
Yeah, like
or
but
like,
but you could always
yeah,
tell that they were hurt, you know. And
yeah.
or sometimes they would be fighting with their boyfriends, right? Like literally in front of everybody.
But I
And
think you can reach a level of success where you can't get canceled at all. Like, you have to be at that celebrity status. Like, for
yeah,
example, Joe Rogan or Elon Musk. They're their own bosses, so they can say whatever they want.
and that's why I heard, like, I think Trump is trying to like put his own platform out, right?
Yeah, Trump, he wants to have his own social media
Yeah,
where you can post, freely. And, because the thing with Twitter and most social media sites like Facebook, Instagram, if you post something that goes against their guidelines, they can shadow ban you, or they can block you,
yeah.
or they can permanently ban you.
And I think me and you know a lot about this because both our parents come from El Salvador. You know, the Civil War, how it was back there. Like, that's the thing. That's the thing that I think that a lot of North Americans, whether they're actually Americans, like Canadian or from the U.S. or even first generation, um, they don't understand that like these things happen slowly, right? And everything that's happening now, it's what happened back in Venezuela, back in El Salvador before the Civil War, and which resulted in the Civil War. A lot of people getting silenced. That's what I'm saying. Like right now, our platform is Spotify, right? Our platform is Anchor or YouTube. If if those companies choose, they can just turn it off. You know, and where do we go? You're gonna have to get like a microphone with a that speaker
Mm.
microphones. But that's what's gonna happen. All right, so I wanted to ask you like, where did this originate from? Like, where did this cancel culture come from? Like, where did it start? We know why it started, but can you elaborate on that?
It's hard to pinpoint exactly when it started and who started it, but I believe that it's a generational thing. You
Okay.
know, I think the younger generation, they had such an easy come up. They had parents who told them, you're going to be the best. If you believe in something, just dream it, this and that. So I believe they find things that they try to find an excuse of what offends them, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is where cancel culture comes from, right? You're not going to hear an old man who was in war, who's a war veteran, complain about things that younger people complain about today. Like I can provide so many examples, but where do you think it originates from? Like cancel culture, if I had to.
So I think it's a fad, right? That's how you
Yeah,
say
like
it.
a like a trending thing.
It's trending. Like it's trending to feel like a victim. And I want to talk about that so much, but I'd rather save it for another episode because there's so much to dive into. But like quickly mentioning everything that's going on, everything. It's because it's captivating, it's attractive to be a victim. And remember we talked about biases? That's the bias. And everything that's going on is because we all want to be the victim, and the number one way to be a victim is to feel offended by everything. You know, I do agree it's a generational thing, for sure. I don't remember none of this happening when I was a kid. I've been insulted so many times. I told you in high school there was a bunch
Mm-hmm.
of I dealt with a lot of racism stuff, but I mean it was racist in terms of like, oh, it sucked, but it never stopped me. I never complained about it. You know, I never did, and then
Mm-hmm.
it never stopped me from achieving what I wanted to achieve. It didn't do anything, not even a pin drop to me. So I don't understand that, but that's my answer. Like, it's super attractive to be a victim right now. You
Yeah,
know?
right now, like I agree. You have the right to be offended if it's something racist, something homophobic, or anything along those lines. But if it's something very minuscule, uh, I feel like the people offended, they want to have the feeling of being empowered by saying, "Hey, you can't do that. You can't say that,"
Yeah,
and put you on blast. To really slander your name, right?
yeah.
Like for example, have you heard of the term Latinx before?
Latinx.
Latinx. So apparently, you can't refer a group of people of Latin descent. You can't call them Latinos. You have to say Latinx because you'll offend.
Yeah.
Some people don't like it. I don't
Okay,
know.
hold on. Have you heard anybody say this
I've
term
never
though?
heard anybody refer to themselves as Latinx or
Yeah.
Latinx. I don't. Latinx. I don't know. Like I don't know.
Latinx.
Like I read it online, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't know where it comes
Yo, I don't
from.
know any Latinos
Yeah. Like I
saying
don't as a
Latinx.
Latino myself, I don't claim that word. Like I don't like
What?
if I'm Latin, I'm gonna say I'm Latino. Like I'm gonna say my family were Latinos. Even though I
Okay,
haven't
hold on. So
yeah.
that's replacing the male and the masculine,
Apparently
the feminine.
so they say the appropriate word you
Yeah.
should be using is Latinx. So if you have like females in your family and males, because if you say Latinos, it sounds like you're referring to
All
just
males.
males, but that's not the case. Like, what's your opinion on that?
If there are any Latinos listening to this and you use Latinx, oh my jeez. Like I'm not even joking. Like I want to backhand someone, bro. Like this is the
Yeah.
thing. How? Like you're trying to change words that like this is the thing. The moment you address something, you shine light to it, right? And that's fair. But like, what happens if what you're shining light on? It's like that saying, "Don't fix nothing that's broken."
Mm.
Right? When we say Latinos, I never think of just men ever. Like, it's never
Yeah.
once. I don't know you. Maybe it's just
No,
me.
I
Like,
think as all, you know, and I
like
hope,
Latino culture. I think
yeah,
about everybody.
I hope we don't get canceled for
yeah,
this.
no. And it's the thing, bro. Like I don't. I'm not. I've been like this my whole life. Like it's gonna sound so annoying, but like even like at school when like other people would be getting in trouble, and I would think that it was unfair, I would go in and fight the teacher, like argue with the teacher, and I would get like suspended or I would get like to the principal's office. But I'm an advocate for justice, man. So I don't think I have a wrong intention and like saying, "Hey, this is dumb," right? Because all I want, okay, so this is what I want. We're kind of mentioning before, right? I believe that this new generation wants a utopia. Okay, anybody who knows me knows like I'm not a pessimist. They know I'm not like here saying the world sucks. You know, I'm a very happy individual. I'm always laughing. I'm always happy. I'm always looking to give love, to get love. But I'm gonna say it here, man, like straight up, there is no solution for us. Like, there's no utopia. You know, we're flawed creatures. We live in a flawed world. We're flawed creatures. Every day, new flawed human beings are being born. Now, that sounds like a downer, right? But the beautiful thing about it is that we all find redemption along the way. We all grow. Like a good movie, right? It has a character arc where a guy can be a douche, you know, or a girl can be a douche.
Hmm.
Remember, the best one is like Iron Man. Remember, he's like a douchey,
Exactly.
and he sacrificed himself. Like again, like those are the best kind of stories, right?
Hmm.
So every day we're looking for redemption, right? But canceling us cancels that redemption.
Do you think we're gonna come to a point where there's no more things to cancel? Like there's a limit,
Yeah, I think it's like
or do you think it never ends? There's
complete
always gonna,
censorship, you know,
yeah,
like what communism, you know, like
yeah.
where you can't say nothing, right? Because the thing, I always believe that in order, even Jordan Peterson said it, and I'm trying to quote him directly. He said, "In order to think, you have to risk being offensive." So what does that mean? In order to think of anything, right? I love this person. I want to achieve this career. I want to chase this career. I want to become this person. That means you have to think a certain way, act a certain way, and along the way you're going to offend people,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
So that means that you will never achieve anything because you're gonna like the moment you think for yourself, you're gonna offend somebody eventually, right? And if you're trying to cancel everything that offends you, then you'll never do anything in your life. And that utopia, everybody, does not exist, you know?
So you believe it never ends. There's always gonna be something that comes up where people try to cancel.
Name me
Like people,
one name
like
me one perfect person in the world and I'll give you that answer. Like name it, right? Because that's the only way it'll stop. And that's just one person because we're talking about how many people in the world now? 7 billion, right? Something like that.
yeah, something like
So
that.
we're talking about one person, and I know for a fact nobody can name one perfect person. Now try to name me 7 billion perfect people. It's never gonna happen. And the beauty of life isn't that we're never gonna be perfect. The beauty of it is that we're trying to achieve some decency, you know? But that decency is being killed by limiting our speech, by the media, our friends, our families telling us who and what to believe in, right? Again, there's balance. I do understand that there's people that use this platform to say like ridiculous things, right? But that's the world we live in, you know? Find me one perfect person and I'll tell you there's a solution for being offensive. But in order to really think and be passionate about things, you're gonna be. I'll give you an example. For me, like growing up, I like in high school and stuff, like in middle school, like a lot of my friends would always like go drink, good party and stuff. And me, like coming from a Christian home, like we didn't drink, we didn't party or smoke, right?
Hmm.
So whenever I wouldn't go out, I feel like maybe my friends thought that like I thought I was better than them. You know, they would act like that. But it's not that I didn't drink or something because I'm too good for that. It's just because I didn't feel like that's what I needed to do. But that's what I'm trying to say. In order to do anything in life, you're gonna hurt some people along the way, even unintentionally. So
Right.
what? I'm gonna get shut down for that, you know? And I never let that shut me down. You know, I love my friends. If they wanted to do all that, that's on them. That's who am I to judge?
Do you
You
believe
know?
there's like a solution or like a line that we can meet in the middle for people who get offended by certain things? Like where do you draw the line? Like how much can we really accommodate, people who are easily offended by, little things? Like for example, if you go around wearing a hat that's red that says, make America great again,
Yeah.
people are going to think you're a bigot, you're racist, you're all sorts of terrible things. But you could be a nice person,
That like the answer to your question, the solution to this is really simple. Stop judging a book by its cover. It's that simple. I've met people that literally like the first time I meet them, they have this like angry face. They seem like douches and whatever. But when you talk to them, they're like the nicest people. People are allowed to say a dumb thing here and there. People are allowed to make mistakes. People are allowed to be douchey. So the answer to your question is the line, you know where it's at? If it impedes your growth. Anything that impedes your growth, bro, like I don't want to call out my own people, but like for those of you watching this, like for those of you listening can't see me obviously, right? But like I'm pretty dark skinned, like and it's crazy because I'm going to be open here, right? Like I have encountered discrimination by my own people because of my skin color. You know? Tell me how many hours I spent crying about it or how many job opportunities or things I didn't achieve because of that. Zero. Because yes, I'm not gonna deny it, man. I'm a human being. Obviously, when I like I hear comments. I hear ladies be like, they talk about their sons, be like, oh yeah, no, my son has green eyes, blah blah. Blah. I'm like, okay, and obviously like I'm a human being. That stuff kind of like hurts me, whatever. But that doesn't stop me. If that stopped me, I'm a weak human being, man. You know?
I think it depends on the country you're from as well, because I think in El Salvador there's as you already know, we have a superiority thing where if you have light skin and light eyes,
Mm.
you're like over here,
Yeah.
and
Up high. Yeah.
you're higher up.
Yeah.
You're seen as the top of the totem pole.
Yeah.
But if you're dark skinned, you're at the bottom.
Yeah.
But nobody's getting canceled about that over there.
Yeah.
But here in North America, more people I believe are sensitive about that.
Because
kind of stuff.
think about this. If let's say
I know it's a wrong way to think.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is that I think it depends on the country you're from.
That's the thing. Like people back home are more they are more humble, but at the same time they are a little bit more ignorant. And that's not a diss, right? Being ignorant, it doesn't mean you're dumb. It just means that people say things that they don't really understand why they're saying it or what it really means, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm speaking from experience, man. Like even within my own family, like I hear discrimination, right? But like what does that do? Like does that stop me from being a better person? Like that doesn't stop me. Nothing will stop me. You know what I'm saying? Like the only thing that will stop me is if somebody says like, "Hey, you're not graduating because you are dark or caramelized Latinx." Sorry, I want to slap myself for saying it. No, Latinx.
Hope you
know?
don't offend anybody by saying.
I don't care. No, nobody be using Latinx.
I mean, somebody will probably be offended by you saying
No,
that,
but
by
that-
us
that-
saying that.
No,
But
they can't.
Just to
because
let everybody know, we're not trying to intently. It's about intent, right?
Exactly, 100%. But I still think that you shouldn't fix things that aren't broken, right? Like there's certain things. If it's broken to you, then more power to you.
The
you
thing
know?
with the Spanish language, though, you have the feminine and masculine words.
Yeah, a lot.
So
Like
are you
English, it's
gonna-
just one.
So if you're gonna fix Latinx, what about all the other words that have
Exactly.
masculine and feminine
Exactly,
meanings, right?
and that's what I
Are
want.
you gonna
Like,
add an X to every single word? Like that's where it gets
Salsa X.
confusing. Yeah, salsa X.
Bachata X.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's really simple, man. Like, you just if something impedes your growth, you need to address it, right? Let's say like somebody in your family is literally saying, "Oh yeah, you darky, you caramel colored dude," or whatever. I don't know, whatever.
Mhm.
If that genuinely hurts you, and you feel like it's affecting you, you should call it out.
100%.
100%, right?
Yeah.
Because there's people that are stronger than other people, right? But I feel like if something is not directly affecting you, right? Like you can transcend it, man. In fact, I'm gonna be audacious and say I love stuff like that because I feel powerful. You know what I'm saying? Anything that they throw my way, and if I push through it, I come out victorious. You know? So I'm not trying to look for utopia. because utopias doesn't they don't make me better, you know. um I think like I've always wanted to share that, right? And it's cool that I get to share it with you, right? Like I did experience a lot of discrimination more by my own people than by like
Mhm.
any other person. It's so crazy. Like
Yeah.
right now, if you're a white male, you're basically done, right? It's funny because I actually experience more discrimination with people that are not the complete opposite of that, that are the complete opposite of that than white males, right? But here I am in front of you, not hurt over it, you know, like,
Yeah.
it never impeded me. But there are things that didn't have to do with my race, more like other things that did impede me that I would address. So that's what I would recommend. Like if you feel that it impedes you, which is like I'm saying, like, you know, getting a job, if it's in your household where you go every day to sleep and you wake up and like your parents discriminate you or whatever it is, you need to address that. But if it's like something that you can avoid, man, you need to like really grow up and transcend yourself and learn some discipline and responsibility and push forward. That's what makes you a better person. Not crying wolf or victimization. I mean, it's easy to be a victim. Anybody can be a victim at any time, you know? So what do you think? What do you
Yeah, I think what you're saying is true. But whoever is offended by certain things that maybe what I have said or you have said, I hope that they can speak out, but also be willing to have a conversation with you and say, "Hey, this is why this offends me,"
Yeah.
but also respect your opinion or my opinion on what we think.
The problem is, man, like whatever you put out, you gotta put back in. So which means if you're gonna call something out, you better make sure that you are doing something that equals the amount that you're putting out. So let me explain. If I'm saying you're a douche, you're a dirt person, I have to make sure that I'm not doing things behind people's back or in my life that make me a bad person as well. It's like saying, yeah, like I'm a victim because of racism, but then I go like steal, you know, I go
Mm.
like I go to shoppers and steal a gum, or I don't forgive people, or I'm not a good worker at work. That's the problem, bro. This is why nobody's a victim. We all have something we owe, you know. Nobody like I'm gonna be so transparent. Like sometimes I should be a better, like when I drive, I think I have I have a lot of road rage, right? I'm trying to work at it. So, but the thing is, sometimes I cut people off myself, and I notice it after. I'm like, damn it, I'm the douche now, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like none of us are perfect, so none of us can be victims because the moment you call something out, you have to make sure that you don't owe anything. Because the moment my dad always taught me, like, when you point, you have three fingers pointed back at you. He always told me that, you know? And usually we always have more we owe, right, than more that is owed to us. So that's what I have to say, you know?
Yeah, those are some great points you brought up.
Yeah, man. I mean, the biggest point out of all this is that Latinx thing. I can't get over that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, but I don't want us to fear that, you know. In this world we live in, we're gonna have to be
What
careful,
if
you know.
3 years from now, or even less than that, people take that word seriously and then they look back at this podcast
And I said
and,
Bakan.
and the Balkan, yeah, like
Well,
how do you bounce back from that? Are you
I'll
gonna?
explain it.
I hope you don't. Are you gonna do like a apology video? Like, hey guys, I'm sorry that I've said
Oh,
this. I'm
guys.
sorry if I offended you. I don't know. What are
But
your
I'm so
opinion?
scared. Am I allowed to do it in Spanish? What if I do it in Spanish? I offend the Spanish speakers that never learn how to
Well,
speak
the thing is, I
proper
don't know
Spanish.
anybody that in my circle at least would get offended by that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that maybe there is, and I'm not aware of it. I guess we'll see. Maybe
Yeah.
after this podcast ends and after this episode, and once it's out, somebody will send me a DM and say, "Hey, I don't like what you said." You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's the
So
thing,
it's
right?
a
Like,
and it's a conversation I'm prepared to have.
yeah.
If somebody slides into my DM or sends me a text or sends me a message on Facebook Messenger, whatever social media, and they tell me I don't like what you said, I'm prepared to have that conversation with them, and I'm willing to be open minded.
Yeah.
I really want to know what they think. I want to know where they're coming from, but they also have to understand where I'm coming from too.
Yeah.
They have to be willing to be open minded to see my point of view, but I'm gonna try to see their point of view too as well,
Yeah.
right? And if anybody does support the term Latinx,
Yeah.
I'd be happy to hear why do you support that,
Yeah. I just don't find a real reason, man. But like, if that's the thing. What you're saying is perfect. Like, everything has. I live by those rules that say treat others the way you want to be treated. So if you genuinely this offends you and it hurts you, and you be like, hey, like Oscar, like, I care about you, man, but like that was offensive. Why wouldn't I apologize? I'm not annoying either. I'm not like a douche either. I'm not gonna be like, well, too bad. I believe that. No, because if you genuinely feel bad and it hurts you, and you come to me like a human being and talk to me, I'll 100% listen to you. Intent is everything. If you come to me demanding something, you're never gonna get anything from me, and that's a promise, right? Like, and I've always been a little rebellious, but I always think in a good way, right? I would always rebel against my teachers, whatever, when I thought they were unfair to me. I never disrespected them. That's the thing. I'd be rebellious in terms of like, no, I wouldn't do this, or I wouldn't. Let's say they saw me, let's say, turn off my phone, and they thought I was using it, and they would ask for it. I would never give it to them, not because I'm being rude, just because I wasn't using it, and I know I wasn't using it, and I would never give it to, and I would go to the office, you know.
Wow.
But I'm like that, and it's the thing. I'm gonna say here, like, I would go to jail gladly if it means
I don't think it'll
sticking
go
to
that
my.
far.
No, but it's the thing.
Yeah.
It might. Look what
Yeah.
happened to Jordan Peterson. Like, they let him go. I think from being a tenured professor at University of Toronto and stuff like that. Like, but you don't know. Like you said, 3 years from now, things can change. 2 years from now, right?
Jordan Peterson is another example though
Oh
of
yeah,
somebody who can't get
big
canceled,
example.
right?
No, well he did. Like, they actually took his books off the
Wow,
shelves
he
for a
took his
bit.
books off.
That's the thing.
But he's
bro,
still
like,
making money though, right? Nobody's
yeah,
really
he's still
telling him
making
what to do.
exactly. But it's the thing because good. I want to end this off on a good note. Luckily, still to this day, there are a lot more people who are still rational. But I don't trust, because if we let our guard down, then we're gonna get overrun. And because it's happening now. Like, I feel scared to say something. I never used to feel this way a year ago, 2 years ago. But sometimes even using a term of endearment or something like that, like in Spanish, it can be taken out of context in English. And so sometimes I'm looking around and I'm like, wait, why am I looking around? Who cares? But I mean, I'm already getting brainwashed too. So, but thank you for joining me, bro. And I'm so grateful to have you.
Thank you for the invite. I got some good feedback from episode 5, the one I
Yes.
shot with you, and I was actually nervous in that
Yeah, you
episode.
were.
Like, I'm not really used to having camera there and the camera here, and then Antonio here, the camera guy.
Yes, Antonio.
Shout out to him.
Shout
He's
out
doing
to
an amazing
Antonio
job.
Luna Photography.
Yeah.
Check him out.
Yeah,
Amazing
but
guy.
coming on again, I feel more loose. Like, I know I probably didn't sound that nervous
Yeah.
that last episode, but I was able to hide it more. But now I'm very comfortable. I can speak my mind and say whatever I want.
Of course, bro. That's what this
And,
is.
I'm happy to be on again.
This
anytime.
platform, that's what it's for, man. Like, obviously we're a respectful. I like to think we're a respectful bunch. Is why I invited you. If I thought you were a little like audacious or crazy, I wouldn't want that as a guest, because it goes against what we believe, what we're saying, right? Just remember, everybody, like, to always try to be fair, try to balance your life, transcend chaos, and thank you for joining us at the Out of Chaos podcast. Catch you guys on the next one.